Children, welcome back to SST class. Today's date is 27 of July 2020. Recapitulation will be of chapter number 1, the Indian Constitution, in which we read about the fundamental rights and directive principles of the state. I'll explain you today chapter number 2, understanding secularism. Okay, dear children, and in assignment you have to read the chapter and find out tough words and their meanings with the help of a dictionary. Summary for today's chapter will be: secularism refers to the separation of religion from the state. So children, let's open our book of civics, chapter number 2, understanding secularism. To understand secularism, let's imagine something. Now imagine yourself as a Hindu or Muslim living in a part of the United States of America where Christian fundamentalism is very important or it's very powerful there. Suppose that despite being a US citizen, no one is willing to rent their house to you. You are an NRI, okay? And how would this make you feel? Would it not make you feel resentful? What if you decided to complain against this discrimination and were told to go back to India? There is no place for you people, no house to live in, go back. So, would this not make you feel angry? Your anger could take two forms. First, you might react by saying that Christians should get the same treatment in places where Hindus and Muslims are in a majority. Like in India, we have all religious people living here. If we would have done with them so, this is a form of retaliation, okay? Or you might have taken the view that there should be justice for all. You may fight stating that no one should be discriminated against on grounds of their religious practices and beliefs. This statement rests on the assumption that all forms of domination related to religion should end, because it's really very inhuman. This is the essence of secularism. So in this chapter you will read more about what that means in the Indian context. Okay, dear children? So let's begin the chapter. Children, in the previous chapter, we read about how the Indian Constitution contains fundamental rights that protects us against state power as well as against the tyranny of the majority. The Indian Constitution allows individuals the freedom to live by their religious beliefs and practices as they interpret these. In keeping with this idea of religious freedom for all, India also adopted a strategy of separating the power of religion and the power of the state. So, secularism refers to this separation of religion from the state. No one should be discriminated against on grounds of their religious practices and beliefs. All forms of domination related to religion should end. And this is only the essence of secularism. So we can say secularism refers to the separation of religion from the state. State means the government. So the government is not going to discriminate any people on the basis of their religion that we follow. In keeping with the idea of religious freedom for all, India also adopted a strategy of separating the power of religion and the power of the state. Now, we will read why it is necessary to separate the religion from the state. Children, this is important for a country to function democratically. In a democracy, the government, is for the people, by the people, and of the people. And in a country, there are many people following different religions. As you all know, our country is famous, unity in diversity. So there is a diversity in religion too. So we have not any state religion or not any religion practiced by the state that we all have to follow. We all are free to choose our own religion and to follow it. So, in a democracy, it's very necessary for the government to separate the religion from the state. Second, the tyranny of the majority can result in the violation of fundamental rights. Okay, dear children? And the third point is to protect the freedom of every individual to exit from their religion, embrace another religion, or have the freedom to interpret religious teachings differently. What does this mean? Suppose if I am following a Hindu religion and on my choice, if I want to follow Christianity or the Muslim religion, I am free to do that. Nobody is going to punish me on this ground. Okay, dear children? So this is for all the citizens in the country. If you feel that you want to change your religion, you like, or it's your choice, then there will be no punishment for that. You can interpret that religion according to your choice. Okay, dear children? Now let's talk about the Indian secularism. What is Indian secularism? The Constitution of India made it mandatory for the Indian state to be secular. Children, the word meaning secular. Have you all got this word? Secular means the state is not going to ban or force you to follow any religion. Okay, it is our choice that we follow any religion by our choice. Okay, freedom of religion, simply you can say freedom of religion. Okay, so Indian Constitution allows its citizens the freedom to live by their religious beliefs and practices. The objectives of a secular state are to ensure that one religious community does not dominate another religious community. Sometimes there are problems on the basis of it, but the judiciary is there to protect everyone, because we have to follow the rules and regulations mentioned in our constitution. Now, second point is that the state does not enforce any particular religion and also does not take away religious freedom of individuals as it is done in some of the countries of the world like Germany, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and all. That some members of a religious community do not dominate the other members of the same religious community. Okay, dear children? And for this, you can read page 22, in which there is a story given by some students. Okay, when we are living in a country like India where democracy prevails. You might read it later, page number 22. Some students are requesting their teachers to let them celebrate their religious festival in the school. The teacher denies that. He says all the government authorities, schools, institutions have to follow or have to abide by the rules. So no practices on religious ground or no celebration of such things in government schools. So the teacher denies. In private schools, we may do that, but in government school, the sir denied or the teacher denied to do so. So the children decided to celebrate their festival by themselves outside of the school. So what does this show? That all religion in eyes of the state are equal. Okay. Now let's read preventing domination. The Indian state works in various ways for preventing the above mentioned domination, and we can read them in this way. It uses a strategy of distancing itself from religion. The state has nothing to do with the religion. The Indian state is not ruled by any religious group, nor does it support any one religion. Okay, dear children? Second is the Indian secularism prevents the above mentioned domination through the strategy of non-interference. Again, there is a story on page number 23. Paramjeet and his friend have bought scooters and they have decided to go for a ride on their scooters, and they live in Delhi. Children, you might know in our Bhilwara also now there are restrictions to wear helmets and follow traffic rules. Okay, so it's really very important. We all must follow it. So he is a Sikh man, Paramjeet, and his friend says him that I have a helmet. Why you are going with a helmet? So Paramjeet says that in the Indian constitution, the state recognized that wearing a pagdi, that means a turban, is a central to a Sikh religious practice, and in order not to interfere with this, allows an exception in the law. See, our constitution, the rules regulation written in are very flexible. It is one of the important feature of our constitution that we have a written constitution, but it is flexible. Changes can be made on and on. So wearing a turban or a pagdi is very important for a Sikh to follow his religion. So the state, the judiciary, the police is not going to ask him to do so, that he should take out his turban and then wear a helmet. No, they won't do that because our constitution allows it. Okay, dear children? So this is called strategy of non-interference. The state makes certain exceptions for particular religious communities in order to respect the sentiments of all the religions. Like he is wearing a pagdi and nobody is going to punish him for that and asking him to wear a helmet. No dear, nobody will do that. Okay. Now next is the state does not interfere with the religious practices. What religion I am following, you are following, the Prime Minister follows, whoever lives in the country is all free to follow any religion. The state follows the strategy of intervention. Children, hope you have understood intervention. The Indian Constitution grants the right to religious communities to set up their own schools and colleges. Anybody living in the country can open his or her own school and college. It is not on the ground of religion that you are a Muslim, you can't do that, or you are a Hindu, you can do that. Okay? It also gives them financial aid on a non-preferential basis. Even it helps economically all schools. Now, the Indian state is a secular and works in various ways to prevent religious domination. It means that our constitution or our country works on the various ways to prevent religious domination. How? The Indian constitution guarantees fundamental rights that are based on these secular principles. Indian secularism is different from that of other democratic countries. Okay. So we talked about our Indian constitution. Now we will see the difference. Okay. Unlike the strict separation between religion and the state in the American secularism and Indian secularism, the state can intervene in religious affairs. In USA, the separation between the state and the religion means that neither the state nor religion can interfere in the affairs of one another. In Indian secularism, the state can intervene in religious affairs. For example, our constitution intervened in Hindu religious practices in order to abolish untouchability. Untouchability, people try to discriminate each other on the basis of their caste. Okay. The Varna system in our society prevailed since the ancient times, and because of that, the untouchability had great roots in our country. To just abolish that, when the constitution was made, this untouchability was to be removed from the country, and these people were legged forward so that they can have equal rights. So right to equality, okay, gives or enforces that. This, now the differences, we are continuing with the differences. This means that any interference in religion by the Indian state has to be based on the ideals laid out in the constitution. For us, constitution is everything. We have to abide by it. Now children, understand the meaning of coercion. It's very important. Coercion means to force someone to do something. Here it refers to the force used by a legal authority like the state to make us follow that. But such word never exists in our constitution or in our state. Now freedom to interpret means the interdependence that all persons shall have to understand things in their own way. Here it refers to a person's liberty to develop their own understanding and meaning of the religion they practice. Okay, dear children? So you have to read the chapter carefully and try to find out the words and the meanings. Okay, dear children?